bring it to you.
I think I saw that. Thank you.
Yep. Okay.
Hot button. It's like your phone.
Oh, it's not touch screen.
Well, it is.
Get your foot falling out, Mary. You need to learn that snap to face like all those other kids got. Fistograms.
At home, I just push the button.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Thanks. I sent her,
Built-in tech support, way to go, kid.
I sent her a meeting where it said at Christmas time, everybody's asking you how to do stuff. I'm just like,
Do you remember what we said last time? Are you sure? Are you sure?
nice short meeting.
I think you have them.
I changed it to special, but here it's showing.
Oh.
I don't know how that happened. This is agenda, this is the regular meeting. Go off on the
I'll make sure.
3 minutes.
Oh, no.
Okay. If I'm bidding on something.
Oh, yeah.
Well, how's Stephanie?
No, Fred, you kind of slowing down now.
Nobody buying
The week before Christmas.
it? What's my buddy doing? Is he,
We looked at some houses, not the right one yet.
needs some bigger land where he can get it. Both.
He wants to put his camper and stuff on it too. His wife wants to be by those grandkids, so that's where we're looking.
Yeah.
That's the thing, isn't it?
Oh, good for him.
Yeah.
Well, they're all coming back to being a good ways away.
When it comes down to it, if you've got grandkids, she's driving every day, it's a long ways.
Well, she's doing school.
Yeah.
School teacher and she's
She's retired, she's now volunteering,
volunteering.
and that takes a minute.
Is it rolling?
Yep.
Live, looking at us. Kind of freaky, isn't it?
I like it.
You like freaky, is that what you said?
I like it watching us.
Oh, this is Garrett's first meeting on this side of the table, we have to have a party. No.
I've been watching these weird YouTube videos about listeners.
Oh, no, why would you do that? It's a
Then
nightmare.
they're watching there and they got a picture of this thing and I'm thinking, I can't really gotta somehow be fabricating that.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh.
Good thing I don't drink.
Every time.
Okay, we got 1 minute.
You can watch that on time.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, they're gonna be paying for it.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I'm gonna call the meeting to order at 7 PM. Pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic, which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Roll call. Oh, you guys got my sequence changed on me.
Yeah, switched it up on you.
Jason?
Here.
Kara?
Here.
Mary?
Here.
Gary?
Here.
And Ken is here. We're at the agenda. Approval of agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as presented or with changes?
Well, I didn't see on here that and I think we should, add two different things on here. One is the battery storage thing. We probably should at least discuss a little bit about, or have some input on, because the planning commission's had a meeting. And also the, text amendment change. I don't know where you want to put that.
Does everyone agree with that?
I do. Any objections?
Yeah, I object to it.
Okay,
You need to have a public hearing for Lemay.
yeah, we can do that. We can have it done, have it done for January meeting.
You just want to talk about it tonight.
Correct.
Okay, talk about it.
So these are both discussion?
Yeah.
Gary's got a motion. Got a second? We're gonna add battery storage and text amendment for the, vacant lot, foundations and the small cottages.
Can I have two other items? Would you want that in a separate motion or added to Gary's change?
Probably a separate one.
Okay.
Gary's the one making this. Got a second? You second,
I'll
Gary?
second, sure.
Jason? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, is carried. Yours?
I would like to add a discussion of including our township attorney to be present at meetings. And lesser important issues, so if we don't have time for it, we could put it at the tail end of new business, but I'd like to propose like a procedural voting thing on how we vote on the board.
I guess I don't understand. Can you elaborate on that or something? What?
He wants to have a discussion on it. I think we ought to have a discussion
Okay,
and
okay.
find out what it's all about.
Yep, okay.
So Jason's made a motion. Do we have a second?
Sure, I'll second it.
Mary made a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes, all ayes carried. Okay, now it's time for public comment. Do we have any public comment?
Do we approve the agenda with those changes?
Bob?
Yeah, I came from the news, something about North Lake, and I hate to keep.
Will we approve the agenda with?
Oh, excuse me.
With the
So,
changes.
take a second, Bob. I forgot to, we had a motion to approve the agenda or with changes. We did the order changes. And now we need to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with changes.
Mary made a motion. Do I got a second?
So moved.
Move. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes carry. Thank you, Gary. Now, Bob.
Yeah, I just heard North Lake was some meeting about it, I didn't know what it was all about or that, but I'm just here to say the same thing, we got those bubblers on the lake that's supposed to make the mud just go into the air, and it's costing a lot of money for them, and they don't do nothing, the lake hasn't changed. They come out and spray the lake, kills the weeds, what the weeds do, they go back down to the ground and make more muck. Well, the fishermen out there tell me, with their depth finders, that the water isn't getting any higher, and the weeds there are just getting worse, and we get the big muck piles up now. And the bubblers aren't doing absolutely nothing but costing us money. The only one that's making out on this deal is the people that are supplying them. And I'm sure this year they're gonna probably have to go for more money or something. Years ago, we used to come in, cut the weeds and take them out, and that solved a lot of the problems. Well, then the group came out, they wanted to change it, So they wanted to go with these bubblers, and they don't do absolutely nothing, not one thing. Now, some of the people around the lake, they put bubblers out there and it pushes the muck away from their area there on other people. And once they shut them down, the muck seeks its own level and goes back to the same level. So I just don't want this. I know they got a contract. I don't know if it's for another year or two with these bubblers that they gotta keep. But I know every year they're gonna keep raising the prices, and besides paying for this stuff, they're not doing nothing. So I just wanna, like I say, I didn't know what this meeting was about. That's why I just came. When I heard about North Lake, I figured I should appear on it just to see if something comes up on it, but it's costing, I think it's, well, I don't even know what it is now, 800 something a person on the lake every year. And then you still gotta go out there and clean your lake and clean the weeds and go out as far as you can and get muck out and weeds. And now there's actually a pad of muck out there now, and that's causing the bog. So then when they cut the weeds and weeds full, they get into the muck, and then the muck piles keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And they're in the middle of the lake, and you go out there now, you come out there, I'm willing to take anyone out there, get them out there and see what's going on there. I wish it could be there 5 years ago, 7 years, or whatever we've been having now, and see what change we had, and there's nothing. Actually, the muck's, according to the fishermen, and I can only go by what they say with their depth finders and that, they say that the muck is just getting worse than it's getting better.
Thank you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Can we address that? I'm Gail McLaughlin. I'm the treasurer of the North Lake Board. And
I am Ann Walker, and I live on the lake as well.
Yeah.
And have for quite some time.
we've been on there, not as long as Bob's family, but we've been on the lake 18 years. And everything is data driven, it's scientific, and it's proven to have reduced a lot of the lily pads. And we have a whole lake aeration system, and it is expensive, and it gradually reduces the muck. And there are so many factors involved in weeds. A lot of it is lack of ice cover over these past few years, environmental changes, and we deal with the science of restoring our lake so that we don't have to use expensive pesticides, which is like a Band-Aid approach. And it's data driven. We've got a linologist that we work with, and that is the contract that Bob referenced. It's the RLS contract that's on today's agenda.
And I just would like to say too, and we do use the expert and use the data. We have our annual meetings. We've had those individuals come and speak to the entirety of the individuals who attend our annual meeting. It's not a swimming pool, so it's not a perfect, ecological, place to drop things in, but we have the ability by putting, the aeration system that lays on the bottom of the lake. They have proven, they have the stats that it has, lessened the muck there. But again, we're working with a lake, we're working with a shallow lake that's probably 18 feet deep at the max. And then if we don't have, rain, we have a lot of growth that does happen. We've all cleaned our property over the years and years and years. We've tried a variety of, processes. We have tried, cutting. And the limnologist said, that might be an option too. So there's a variety of things, but I mean, it is data driven. We would love it if it was perfect. It isn't. But what we're trying to do is follow the science. And that's the best we can do is follow the science. And I can tell you that I have spoken to a lot of individuals on the lake. And I haven't asked it, but they've brought it forth that they, I'm not sure where the depth, we're not having progress on it, and I'm sure that's gonna happen, but I know that the fishing has been really good. I know a lot of individuals have said that they, have noticed that the fishing is
Excuse
great.
me.
Yes.
but Unfortunately, your time is up
Okay.
for your turn.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else? Well, tonight, what's on our agenda?
There's one more.
Oh, go ahead, Karen.
My phone's stuck. Okay. As always, my public comments are made as an independent citizen. They include facts to the best of my knowledge as well as my own opinions. Want to welcome the officials to the new term. You each bring unique talents and I value the sacrifice of your time. You've all just renewed your oath to support the Constitution and faithfully discharge the duties of the office according to your best ability. Formal training is encouraged, but nobody here is expected to be an attorney, even if you want to be. Technical knowledge does not always translate to what is best. Trust your own wisdom, discernment, and good old common sense. I've learned that just because a matter is permissible by law does not mean that it is necessarily beneficial. When in doubt about a motion, there's nothing wrong with voting nay, moving to postpone, or simply withholding a second. You are not obligated to engage in futile argument. This is and endorses expenditures for legal professionals as needed to cut through the exhausting spin of what are sometimes gray areas or even misapplied MCLs. By definition, an agenda is a list or outline of things to be considered or done, so it should not include pre-written motions and opinion. Where are the text amendments that have gone through the county and back to the planning? Poverty exemption, I think you got from your assessor. And you're devoting a special section to the emergency services, even though there's 2 other reports where that information could be. Regarding appointments that are on the agenda, I believe in separation of authority. It's generally good practice and could even be considered a conflict of interest but if the supervisor was the only willing party, apparently it may be legal. Supervisor Spicer, however, should be censured for his recent interference with the text amendment process, making him, in my mind, ineligible for appointment. Especially given that you do have a willing alternative for the planning commission ex officio in trustee Bull. As far as the ZBA appointment, Dave Marcelletti recently wrote that he didn't know that sending a text amendment to the county was final action for PC, but now you're wanting to place him as the rep for the ZBA. 2 board members objected to Dave's appointment back in 21. And at that time, Ken, you characterized Dave as the devil's advocate. He does not want change. And because Dave Marcelletti is also on the roads committee, I would request that you
Excuse me,
limit how
ma'am?
many offices any one individual has.
Your time is up.
I have something for a different topic, so I guess we'll have to decide if that's, if I get a new 3 minutes for that.
As for Northlake, tonight we're here to talk about the invoices, and I need board's authority to sign them. And that's really the only reason it's on the agenda.
Right.
So I just want you to know that.
Oh, we have one more.
Dixie?
Karen, when I was at the planning commission meeting last week, I thought that the text amendment was part of their meeting. And so I had prepared my, discussion regarding that. And as I went through the text amendment that the planning commission, I thought that they were going to get it proposed to the board. I had a few issues with that because it said that it would be based on the law of the state of Michigan. What law? So I went in and I just did Google researching. I came up with, okay, if you have a wood foundation, then there are like 6 different types of soils. So then my next thought was, well, okay, so if there's 6 different types of soils, who's going to evaluate these soils? Is that going to be part of our procedure in order to get a building permit or a zoning administrative permit? Okay, so once you get that, okay, then once you decide that, okay, what's the ground like? Who's taking the samples? Is a wood foundation allowed in that as opposed to taking away from both of them the cement and block foundation. So I had a lot of questions regarding that, which were not answered because I was told at that meeting that that was not something that they were, excuse me, discussing that night.
Anyone else?
Can I just ask a question? I just moved into the neighborhood and this is my first board meeting. What can we talk about at this point? I know this is very,
You can talk about anything you like.
ask questions about.
The
certain-
township board is not allowed to answer questions. This is public, we listen to you.
Okay.
But if you want to talk to somebody after the meeting, where one-on-one, you can
Okay,
pick somebody and we'll be more than happy to try to answer your question.
perfect. Thank you. I didn't want to
Yep.
waste anybody's time.
Point of order, anybody that would like to speak, we need to know your name and your address, please.
Oh,
Thank you.
Welcome to the township.
thank you. Well, good.
Okay, no more public comment. We're gonna go to the consent agenda. We have the meeting minutes. Got any, questions on the meeting minutes? Anyone? Gary? You good with them?
I looked them over. I didn't see any problems with them.
Okay, payroll, any, discussion on payroll?
I just saw one observation I thought was unique. That we had the, parking lot lights fixed. And I think it was, odd or that the, amount that they charged was exactly the maximum amount that we approved.
They actually went over budget and they did it for the max. They gave me a bill higher.
Not according to their invoice that I have.
Did they submit a preliminary bill and then?
The bill,
Something back?
So I called them, I was talking to them and I said, where we at in the invoice? Because we got a limit. And then they went and told me and I says, our limit's this, we're gonna have to get board approval. And then they said, well, we'll buy all the pictures that they'll figure out how to cut them in and cut their cost to our maximum amount.
that's my only comment.
That's your only comment?
Yes, sir.
That was the accounts payables, bank account balances. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Jason made a motion. Do I get a second? Here, a second. Roll call vote. Jason?
Yes.
Tara?
Yes.
Mary? Gary?
Yeah,
Ken, yes. In the budget, I, have a, current budget and actual to date report. And I put in a budget report of, 12/13/24. Emergency service?
Well, I see that you've got, my reports. There have been, Andy, also, I saw that you have the, all the things that we got done this week or this month. We had some joint training with Bangor. We had a Stuff the Truck campaign that raised $508 and 2 truckloads of food and supplies that were distributed, exactly in half to the Congregational Church and to, the Resource Center in Breedville. We completed our yearly, mandatory training for driving, around the area with our vehicles. And then we assisted, with, putting up some Christmas decorations, for the Grand Junction. Then, a few days later, we got our butts handed to us. The weather came in and just shiz snapped us. And so we did some work. There was some close calls, for us during that time frame. We managed that appropriately. So. We did our new training at our last meeting. We had, our largest group there to date. And we train twice a month. We've got some new people gonna be coming on board here in a few weeks. And we do have a EMR class that I'm doing pro bono, starting, next month. So 6 months, the first 6 Mondays, next month, I got 10 people, that are gonna go through our class for us, and 3 for Bangor and 3 for Lawrence. So the only cost that we're gonna incur, is the textbooks. That's pretty cool. Otherwise, it'd be unable to do that. Luckily, I'm able to be who I am and who I am. For those who don't know, I'm a teacher as well. So,
So do we keep the textbooks then for the next
those are our
group?
textbooks. Well, until the curriculum changes.
At last meeting, we, approved, fixing the septic system at at Station 2. Has that been started or has the weather been a
The weather's
problem?
been the booger.
Okay, okay,
I mean, we got to it just a smidgen too late, so it is what it is.
okay.
I got a note today when I asked you if you want to take over, it was because, one of the 2 furnaces at Station 1 is completely failed. It is offline completely. We've requested a quote from the people. It is irreparable. It is plus 20 years old. You know, that's what they're saying. So, that's what it is. So we got that going down as well. So things are, as, I have been worried about, the things that have not been cared for are now going to start falling apart. They also did do a lot of work at Station 1's furnace, and we're able to put that back online. We'll limp that through until next year. That'll be that. I don't think there's anything other than that, but we haven't started, the other, we've got it going, but we haven't got anything moving because it's been too cold. Hot, cold, hot, cold.
I got a funny for you.
I love fires.
Your fire department have a fire.
We could do that. I'm all for that. Problem is, there's no fireplace. That might incur some issues.
Just kidding, Jason.
Well, it's funny because the parade the other day, why didn't we have a fire in another area? And the fire chief answered, I couldn't get a burn permit. And it actually caught a couple people off guard. Well, who did that? He's like, I'm joking. We didn't have one for it. It's fine. It's good for a while. I do hear, like, so on our days here, I do have med control authority with the county every single month. People that control our medical, at the hospitals and so forth. And I also talked to 911 dispatch, and he actually called me today wanting to know about, why isn't the reports that he's giving us enough? He's asking me this question. I said, I don't care, give him what you want. But, I give you guys literally everything I get, and there's requests for more. So I'm just curious as to what more do I need to do to help you guys out?
Thank you.
So.
Deputy Sheriff, Jeremy.
Well, no real change from last month in the volume of call. It's still around 63. This last month, I will say myself in the last 30 days, I've handled way too many animal problem complaints. Loose dogs, people need to be making sure they're keeping their animals confined to their property, whether on a leash, shot collar, visible fence, what have you. It's getting to the point where our animal control is getting sick of it. The sheriff's office, ourselves, we are getting sick of it. And we're gonna start just showing up and handing out citations for dogs being off property. So, all the other thing is make sure those animals are licensed as well, because I've gotten plenty of flack from animal control about that. License your dogs.
Have the request for property checks increase over the last.
I've gotten a few more in the last 2 weeks. Just got another one today. I went and checked on. But I assume with the heavy winter coming through, the ones that are southern flyers are gonna be, if not, I've already made their way out, they will be doing. So I assume I will be seeing a few more property checks hit my email in the next 30 days.
And that's still available for people that
For
want to
anybody
know.
within the township, contact the sheriff's office. They can actually fill out a form on our website and it'll get emailed directly to our command staff, which they will in turn notify me, and we start property checks immediately. So as soon as I receive that email, I usually drive it straight out to it. Just to do a check. Yes,
I mean, this is silly, but what's a property check?
well, just if the property's gonna be vacated for a period of time, we'll come out, we'll conduct a property check. Make sure all the doors, windows are still secured, doesn't look like it's been burglarized. Nobody's out there who's not supposed to be. On the form, we'll ask you for information, like an emergency contact person who's gonna be nearby and can respond if there is something wrong. 'Cause if you're, you go to Florida for 3 months, me calling you in Florida, telling you your home's been burglarized,
Well,
I need someone who's gonna be able to respond quickly to help secure the property,
thank you.
all right?
Like snowbird people?
Yeah, I mean, I just thought people had cameras and internet and.
Oh, we always recommend that if you have cameras, great, motion sensor lights, wonderful.
Road commission?
I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and have a safe holidays.
Thank you.
We're under, of course, winter operations and we need to. Not a lot going on. Other than that, some tree removal, some, equipment preparations and so on for next summer. And then, a big announcement, I wasn't here last month, so and I don't think we had it the month before, so. For County Road 388 from Bloomingdale to Gobles was supposed to be half, it was on our 5-year plan to do half of it in 25 and half in 26. We got a federal grant for half of it, so it's all being done in 25. So that's the last chunk from South Haven to the county line. So, and that's been a multi-municipal city council out of South Haven, of course, takes care of their own Geneva Township, Columbia Township, Bloomingdale Township, and Pine Grove Township, have all thrown money in on their sections along the way. That wasn't required of them, but it definitely helped out and pushed the project along. And, the county, commissioners, some of the COVID money, they put like $1 million in for a section over in Pine Grove. And then the money that the road commission has put in and grants we've gotten, but it's all gonna be after, by the time the summer's over, it'll all be connected all over Mexico, so nice. That's pretty nice.
Doug, maybe I missed it, but did you say that's gonna go from, Bloomingdale to the, just to Gobles? It's not gonna go to 22nd Street past into Kendall?
It's done.
That's done?
They already did that.
Oh,
last
okay,
year.
I
okay.
think last year we did from the fire hall to 29th was pretty good. Last year, I think we did from 29th to where 653 goes south.
South?
And then, I'm sorry, in 2023, we did that. And then this summer, in 24, we did from 653 onto the county line.
Okay,
It takes you around the two curves
correct.
and over the river at the county line there. So we have changed, some things, it used to be Columbia Township would start yelling and we'd come into Columbia and do something and then Decatur would yell and we'd go to Decatur and well, now where it's like, we got our Pazer ratings, which we do to the roads every year. Pazer, don't ask me what it stands for, but they go out and, we go out and rate the roads every year. And when we decide what we're gonna do, it's based on pager ratings and traffic and of course financing. So it's not, no more, feelings, it's science. Just like it was on Saturday. And we're also working to connect things together. We're working on 681 down around Keeler. And when we get, eventually it'll be all the way from Grand Junction to M51, the big curve, west of Decatur. So we're trying to do that, just as we did with County Road, what was it, 380? Or 384 that goes around Jeff Lake. That went for all the way from M42, County Road 665, so. And we've also redid the 5-year plan. It was required about 3 or 4 years ago by the state. But when it was written, it was they planned on more than it was even possible to do. So it said on the 5-year plan in 2025, we're gonna do this, and knowing that it's not gonna get done, the money's just not there, so then we said 388 was on there, and then you don't do it, and then people on 388 are, well, so it's right here, you're gonna do it, so we scaled it all back, should be everything that's on the plan, should be able to finance as we go, so.
And the object for the pacer ratings is to keep on top of the roads so you can keep them in good shape, relatively good shape, without going down and starting with a new bed.
Well, or if they're too bad, then, it's like that, it's not even
Right,
worth
right.
putting seal coat on, we better get here in a couple of years. So it gives us a guideline to work on. So connectivity, traffic, financing and condition determines kind of what we're doing.
Thank you.
Hey Doug, I saw some crews out earlier in the year and saw the results, but I'm curious, how did the new mowing equipment work out? Was that as planned in terms of cost savings and efficiency and all that?
Yeah, it worked well. Yeah, we're getting extra wide. So that's something else you're not gonna see on your, there used to be extra width mowing where you requested certain spots. Well, everything's getting that wide now, so we're not gonna have extra width mowing anymore. It's just the mowers are getting that wide. We bought bigger mowers with a middle section and a wing only on the right hand side, so you're not dragging that left wing out in the road. And we got over the whole county twice, most of it a third time. And Brett, the managing director, they documented how they mowed. And so like if you started in Lawton last year, next year, we're not starting in Lawton again, we're maybe starting in South Haven or somewhere up north and working south. So that, it's not the same ones getting mowed early and the same ones yelling at the end of June that they haven't been mowed yet.
Great.
Was there 3 or 4
Looked
mowers
good.
that were bought?
We have 4.
Four.
We bought 2.
Okay,
We have 4 altogether. We bought 2, and the 2 that we bought, the tractors we bought with them, we got with loaders on the front of them, so if you come across a big rock that's been mowed around for 10 years because it's laying there, now we can move it out of the way as we go. We're not out cleaning ditches. I mean, there's no way you're gonna completely pick up all the garbage. There are certain things such as a mattress or something like that. Before, the contract mowers just went around them and kept on going, so. That's about it.
Board member comments?
member comment.
Anything on your report?
If there's anything that you see out there, a big pothole, a washout on the edge of the road, something like that, the best way is to get on the road commission's website. And there's a program called See Click Fix, just check daily, more than once a day. Not weekends, obviously, that, but if it's an emergency, then on a weekend, just call the sheriff's department and they'll dispatch somebody. But a normal, large pothole or something, get it on See Click Fix, and that's the fastest way to get it to somebody and get it taken care of. and then it's documented also. When it goes through that system, it's documented, and you can even take pictures and send it in to the secret fix thing, and you can track it and see what's going on. And you'll know when it's fixed, or if it doesn't get fixed or whatever. You'll know. That's it. Sorry about that.
Board members, comments on any of your reports? Okay, hearing none. Emergency services. The emergency service FEMA grant update. Today again, I got kicked out of Sam. And I called him and I been at it trying to get them, and I got somebody that actually found a technical problem in their system with Columbia Township going back to 2021. They're supposedly gonna resolve that, and I should be accessible tomorrow. I'm not holding my breath. JC, have you been lucky to get
Negative.
negative?
Did you maybe let them know that there's two other Columbia Townships in Michigan
Well,
and,
they're aware of that.
okay,
I got Van Buren County behind ours, and we've already are registered. Christie had us registered.
right.
But when she did the entity proof, she told them there was no proof, and she had no idea when we were incorporated. I provided all that information. We were incorporated in 1845. We separated from South Haven Township. Geneva and Columbia separated at the same time. Moving on to unfinished business, the Generac generator.
That was serviced by, Kerwin, Electric. They are a, authorized service dealer. Contacted two other service people, in Kalamazoo and in Holland. And, Kerwin was the cheapest. They were, actually $150 cheaper for routine service on the generator, so I had them do that. And it's a good thing that we had it done. The battery was 8 years old in it and wouldn't have cranked it if we needed it. So they put a new battery in it. And, they are gonna put us on their, service list for fall for routine service. So it was done, and it was done in a timely fashion. I talked to the guy 3 times on the phone, and he was very knowledgeable. And so that's been taken care of.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Eckenberg subdivision, the land between Silver Lake Road and Silver Lake. Mary and I worked on that today, and Dale Bradford sent us a meeting minutes reflecting that the township attorney back in 2003 determined that it was not the township, but a civil matter between the property owners. So I think we have no part in this, but we probably ought to just make the motion that we, that this is a civil matter and between the Silver Lake landowners. Can I get a motion to that?
What's the motion needed for, if it's in?
Well, basically just concur that basically this is a civil matter between the property owners. They got deeds to all these properties. It's on a deed to the lake.
Who's they?
Each one of the property owners that are on Silver Lake Road,
Their property extends to the water's edge?
they have deeds that extends their property to the water edge. I guess we don't need a motion. We got the paperwork. We just all-
Exactly.
Would it be possible to ask a question?
Pardon?
Could I ask a question about that?
I'll make it quick. We're not supposed to do this in.
If it's all so cut and dry, why is there continuing confusion about the ownership? I mean, if
A property owner came to me and questioned it. I didn't know the answer. I brought it before the board. When I brought it before the board, I got the map and that, and then we started looking to see what it is when we came back to the answer.
But I'm curious that the survey company would come out and get one result, and then they'd come out again and get a different
This
result.
is, it has nothing to do with the survey. You had a property owner that said that that was all public right of way through there. And title shows that it's not. It's owned by people. It's that simple. We got no involvement here on our end. It's a dead deal.
It's the deeds. The deeds.
They have a
that
deed.
go to the property.
But people seem to have conflicting deeds. No?
No.
They can go to the register of deeds and get a copy of their own deed if they'd like it.
Okay.
Well, I'll just give you one of them. Along the western extension of the south line of the lot 5 to Silver Lake, to Silver Lake. It takes it all the way from their property to Silver Lake. And then it goes northwesterly along said lake. So that is showing that they have title to the lake. And all of them in that section have that. Where the title's there. It's us, we're not involved. Okay?
I guess, yes.
Bottom line is if there's a dispute, it would be with the property owners.
Oh, I
The,
understand.
the county road commission has nothing to do with it and the township has nothing to do with it.
Right.
So Ken, on the agenda where it says move to have Foster Swift review ownership of the land, was that before you got the answer to this question?
Mary came to me, I was gonna ask permission to go to them to do some work
Okay,
before I had them do work. So I got a hold of Mary and Mary went, so I sold the property there and then Mary and I started looking and
Found all the
we found them
answers.
all.
So we don't need to have that. We don't need to have Foster's.
We don't need any action.
Okay, that's good.
Hey, how did you figure out that it was not, township property? 'Cause
It's
when we
on their
did-
property
So-
deed.
It's on property.
It's on their,
Mhm.
they have deeded property. That property is actually deeded to them, to the lake shore. Okay, Midwood, electrical parking lot invoice.
That was done. So the light should be on tonight.
Well, they're nice.
Everything was done except the pole. The pole was not replaced and in the ad for requesting bids, that was part of it. However, the bid was pulled or the notice was pulled when Midway Electric said that they could do the work. We contacted, I looked at it tonight, 6 different electricians for bids and nobody responded. I don't know why they don't want to work, but nobody responded. So Midway Electric was contacted and they came out and found the break in the line and replaced the lights and reconnected some of the issues we had with our little shed out here. Bottom line is they fixed everything at the amount that was approved and it's all good.
Do we want to turn this over to our insurance company since we had a blown line?
Well, that's a good, excellent question. It could have been done when we had that surge, when it took out a lot of my stuff.
It's all my stuff.
So I guess what we could do is submit a claim and see what they're gonna do with it.
You want me to file that?
If you know who our insurance carrier is,
I'll find out.
I'm sure that the clerk probably has that.
Somewhere, I'll find it.
She'll find out and I'll call them. We had the broken line that actually blew apart underground.
Yep.
And then we had, both the fixtures were blown out up on top
Correct,
and the light bulbs are all blown.
correct.
So, and there's a broken wire going to the sign also, right?
Correct.
Now, in the future, do we want to put a timer in the back room back there so that we can control light shutting off at midnight or something like that, or 1 o'clock in the morning?
I guess that's a discussion. I don't know.
Later discussion.
Yeah.
Right now, we got lights working.
Right.
Okay, I'll take care of contacting them. We need to set some dates for, the budget review by the township board. Did I attach the budget
The budget itself,
or did I send it to everybody?
it's in here.
I think is it under your report? It's under G1.
I don't see it.
Is it information? This?
You talking about your proposed draft budget, Ken?
Yep.
That one's not in there.
I don't think that's on the agenda attachments. I think you may have emailed that out earlier.
I thought I emailed it out for everyone to look at instead of send it in the. How did I get back?
I don't know.
You're not talking about G1, are you?
No.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff open. He's not there.
Thank you. I would have never done that. Articles, we got Gentech, we got land, we got Midway parking. New business, set meeting dates for budget review. Does anyone? We probably need some time. I would ask everyone to take that budget and go through it and highlight what you want to talk about. And if you're okay with that, what I did this year is, I think I gave you 3 years of actual. I think I gave you what, the current is today. And then I gave you what I'm recommending, and some of it has a 1.2 increase for inflational reasons. And that was basically only on supplies, fuel, and items like that. It looks like, we also did some of that last year, and that seemed to work out well for this year. We're not running out of budget for things like that. So if you go through and look at it, if you do have questions, come see me. I'll tell you why I put what I put in there. And then maybe we could just look at the highlighted ones that are big issues. And there's probably a few of them in there that is gonna be big issues. And they'll stand out like a sore thumb, because I think I highlighted them for you.
Then, once that's done, we can set dates to have a,
We need to have a set date where after everyone's got a good feel for what's going on, we walk in and we can go through it. Well, we have a kind of a schedule here with Mary here, because we're gonna have to. We have to have a budget review, then we got annual meeting dates that we need to put together and have ready, and then the wage schedule. The wage schedule is also tied to the budget, so we probably need to do a wage schedule. Get a copy out there of a tentative one, and then when we're in this budget review, try to set our wage schedule if we need to change wages for anything. I know the assessor has an automatic increase in her contract. We're gonna have to do that one for sure. But we need to get that done before the budget is final, because that could affect me changing the budget.
I've already got tentative meeting dates for next year for the board. Tentative.
Tentative?
Yeah.
These are just say February regular meeting, you know, that we need this, and what we need when at the end. So right now, we probably ought to set the first budget meeting date. Special meeting when everyone can make it. Mary, you got a date?
I'm pretty open.
Jason, you got a date? You're working?
Are we looking at doing a
When are we doing?
special meeting, or, yeah, what are we talking about?
We need to do something in January.
And is it gonna be morning and evening, a Saturday?
What I'd really like to do is before the January board meeting. I mean, if you looked at the budget and you got everything that you wanna take a hit at. If we did that just before the January meeting, set up an hour and a half before where we come in and do the budget. Work on the wages, I think we could probably take care of everything that night on the big ticket items.
January meeting is the 21st.
At 5:30
When? 5:30?
before this meeting.
Before the meeting?
Jason, what time are you,
I could be here by 5:30.
January 21st,
Yes.
2025? 5:30. Well, if anyone doesn't have the budget, let me know and I'll send you another copy. We don't need a motion on that, right?
No.
We got it set.
We have to notice that though.
Yeah, special meeting. You wanna do that or you want me to do that?
I can do it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Land sale, we had a problem with the land sale. We had, two people that have not, gone to the register of deeds and, the property is still in Columbia Township's name. I got three options here. Excuse me, I'm ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, J2.
I got an email from a Nicholas Miller. And he would like to buy, in your package, he'd like to buy this property and that property, and he lives here, and then that would put this single lot non-buildable and lock them out of any chance of being ever to build their property. Our policy in the past has been that we would not sell property that would lock somebody that we own. We would try selling it to them. I do believe that we made an offer to that person back in 21 to pick up those three parcels, and we never got a response. I asked Mr. Miller, I gave him their phone number to the vacant lot and tried to work with them to purchase the property after I had the agenda done. And he's gonna call them, so I really don't want us to make any decision till I find out if that one lot, if he purchases that, then the other two lots we can sell him.
Yeah.
Well, he's made a reasonable offer.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give him time to do that, and I think we'll just table this. Can I get a motion to table? Postpone,
Postpone.
postpone?
We'll make a motion to postpone.
Mary made a motion, get a second?
So moved.
Gary, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye is carried. North Lake Special Assessment District contracts, I don't think the budget has the money for the contracts. So I need permission to sign the contracts, or we need to decide, wait till after the tax money is collected. When do you need the contract signed?
It should be signed, by the end of the year.
By the end of the year?
Yeah, this is for 2025.
They start work till, before March? But one of the things is I'm authorizing expenditures more than the money I have in the budget.
Well, it's billed, quarterly. It's an $8,000 per year, but it's billed quarterly. And, I don't know, I mean, I haven't looked at the check register, but I'm sure there's ample funds in our, SAT account at this point. To cover it.
And we know we're getting the money. But what does the board want me to do with this?
It's a special assessment district, so
Special
money's
assessment
coming in.
And normally we don't sign the contracts for this. It's normally done by the association.
It has been some.
With tax money, we do a lot of spending before we get the tax money too for the township, because we know it's a given, okay? So my opinion is, to go ahead and sign it because that money's coming in anyway.
Logical.
So
I
are you
mean,
making a motion for Ken to sign the contract?
I'd move that, authorize the supervisor to sign the contracts for North Lake special assessment.
For 25, 26.
Correct. Yeah, I was looking at the date here.
Can I get a second?
I'll second for discussion purposes at least.
Jason, any comments?
This is unfamiliar territory for me. You made a comment a minute ago that normally the association signs contracts. Just maybe help me understand why in this case, the township's signing it?
Oh, that's the way their special assessment district, I think, was set up for us. We've always signed theirs,
Is that unique to North Lake?
unique to North Lake.
I don't think that's correct.
No, it's not.
We do that for Saddle Lake
Saddle
too?
Lake
We do that for Great Bear and Saddle Lake because we're the administrators of the funds.
I haven't seen me sign anything for Saddle Lake. Have I?
You did when we finished. We have it in our minutes. You have signed it. When we approved it.
But, well, you gotta prove it. I know that. You
Yeah,
approved it.
when we
I signed
approved it, you signed
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Well,
I think you actually did it at this.
I guess
table.
I have signed the other one.
Yeah, I think you did it at this table. We brought it up and you signed it.
I think you pressed for having the contracts go through the township.
Correct.
Yeah, as I recall.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Jason?
Yes, it answers that question.
I got a motion and a second. Roll call. Jason?
Yes.
Kara?
Yeah.
Mary?
Yes,
Gary?
Yes.
Ken is yes. I got, two individuals that did not file their quitclaim deeds for the lots that they purchased from the auction in 2021. I have laid out a couple options for us. One, send letters to the two purchasers informing them their quitclaim deeds were never filed with the county register, and they should do so within 30 days. The second option is that I take a copy of their quitclaim deeds to the county register of deeds and file them for them, and that would be a cost of less than $150. They both paid more than $400 for the lots that they bought. And I think the easiest thing to do is to get it in their name and let them go for back taxes and come back around.
Seems to me this happened a couple times before.
well, the problem was it wasn't clear what they needed to do. It said return to and their address. I just looked at one. And I don't think people understand how to do it. So I think that when that property was sold, that part was left out. It wasn't clear. So I think that we should do it for them
The
this time,
quitclaim deed's supposed to go to the register of deeds and be filed.
right? But on the quitclaim deed that these people signed, it said return to, and it had their addresses. So I think they figured that it was being done. I think there was a miscommunication when it was being sold, who was filing it.
Okay.
Are these the last ones, you think, or are there more of
I
these?
think that's.
We went through them with the assessor at the board of review and looked at them. We also found a problem with Columbia Township. It's also now got an email, or not email, their PO box changed again to 133, and I don't know how that keeps happening. But we found a bunch of them that way before. So we're gonna have to figure out why that keeps occurring. I got one of them that's got a Madison, Michigan address too, which Columbia Township.
That one's from like Illinois or something on that map.
I'd like to make a motion
Yeah, Walnut Street.
that Columbia Township files these and pays the $30 filing fee. And make it policy that if any other property is sold, we include the $30 filing fee and we make sure we do it, so we don't have this issue.
Well, it's gonna be more than $30 if we sell those properties for the cost that we're gonna get. I have a table now on my wall that shows what the fee is, so I can see what the fee is and charge them the fee for filing.
It's more than $30. I just filed when it was $30.
For the guy that is buying it, he's buying it, and it's over a certain amount of money, then they charge you a percentage. Right?
They just charge $30.
Well, they got $30, then they got another line there for the purchase.
No, it's just $30 to
I'll show
file.
you on my wall.
Well, I know that our attorney just filed one and it was $30.
Okay, we're talking two different things then. Dixie just said transfer tax, so that's different.
Oh, okay.
I gotta add that.
Okay,
That's right, keep it
$30
around.
filing fee plus transfer.
Transfer tax.
No,
I don't know if municipalities pay transfer tax if they're exempt, so I would assume that they would be.
we'll just put it on the sale price.
Yep.
Okay, you got that motion that you made?
Right here.
Include transfer tax now?
Motion that Columbia Township files the quit claim deeds and pays $30 filing fee and propose that the future contracts reflect the $30 fee plus transfer tax and include that in costs incurred.
Sounds good, Kara. That's just what I was saying.
That's Mary's motion. Do I have a second?
So moved.
Gary, moved, this is a dollar thing now. Jason?
Question first, do we know for sure that we can pay transfer tax? You said you're not sure if municipalities.
I don't know if we do or not, but if there's fees, private people pay transfer taxes, but I don't know. So we're saying if there are transfer taxes, these were sold in 2021, they need to be
Okay.
taken care of.
Right,
From this point forward, any fees that are incurred will be included
okay,
with this price, with the sale price, and we can find it, we can verify what it's gonna be before we ever sell another piece of property.
Or you could amend the motion and say,
If applicable.
transfer tax, if applicable.
that's what I meant, yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. That's what I was thinking. Thanks, Carol.
And any other fees that will go to.
Transferring property.
Thank you.
It's a messy motion now, but Kara's got it. She's,
Okay, so Mary's got a motion. Gary, you agree with that, correction? Okay. Jason is a yes now?
Yep,
Cara?
Yeah.
Mary?
yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Ken, all yes. Appointment to the Board of Review. These are the current members of the Board of Review. So the supervisor moves to appoint Dixie Kovac to the Board of Review for the term of January 1st, 2025 to December 31st of 2026. That's a 2-year term. Every 2 years, you have to reappoint your Board of Review members. I make the motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second it. Are we doing each one individually or all of them?
Yeah, we have to do them individually.
I'll second it.
This ends up with a money type thing, so I need roll call. Jason?
yes, why is it money though? Oh, okay, yeah, never mind, yes,
Cara?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Ken, yeah.
before we move on to the next motion, Ken, I'm curious, they all have the same terms, do we try to stagger
Yeah.
appointments for Board of Review as well? Cause
Board of Reviews are appointed every odd year for a 2-year term.
There's real specific state statutes for that.
That is the statute.
That's what I'm saying. There's specific ones for Board of Review. It's different because it's run through the state of Michigan.
but these all three terms are concurrent, so that's okay though?
That's how they do it. And then
Okay.
everybody has to take their training at the same
Okay.
time.
Yeah, I'm making the motion to approve appointment of Leroy Abernathy to the Board of Review for the term of January 1st, 2025 to 12/31/2026 for a 2-year term.
Now, this may sound strange, but are they willing to do that?
Yeah, I asked him at the last
Okay,
meeting on
okay.
December.
I signed up. I second.
Cara, second. All in favor? Jason?
Yes,
Yes.
Cara?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Ken? Oh, yes. Appoint a planning commission member to the zoning board of appeals,
We gotta do Peter.
huh?
We have to do
I didn't do Peter?
No,
He's my favorite one. Supervisor moves to appoint Peter Stanowski to the board of review for the term of January first, 2005 to December 31st, 2006. Can I get a second?
Second.
Jason second. Jason?
Yes.
Kara?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Gary?
yeah,
Appointment to the planning commission member to the zoning board of appeals. Supervisor moves to appoint Dave Marcelletti to the planning commission. As a planning commission member for a 2-year period on the zoning board of appeals beginning January 1st, 25 to December 31st, 2026.
did you vote yes on Peter?
Pardon?
Ken, did you vote yes on Peter?
Yes.
Has Dave been in this position?
Pardon?
Has Dave been in this position or?
No, Anita did not want to be on the zoning board of appeals anymore. I made the motion. Do I get a second?
This is to have Dave on the zoning board of appeals?
Yes. He'd be with Lee Abernathy and, Chuck, from the island, and Dixie is the alternate.
Is he still on the planning commission?
Yes.
So was Anita. She was on both.
Okay. Hmm. Hmm.
Go second? Go second? No one wants a second? Okay, failed. See, we got appointment of Supervisor Ken Spicer as ex official member of the planning commission. I move to appoint myself as ex official member to the planning commission for my term in office. Can I get a second? No one? Failed? Going once? Going twice? Failed. Battery storage.
Don't we still have to, appoint somebody to the,
No,
planning commission?
do not have to appoint anyone.
We need somebody from the board as a ex officio to the planning commission.
Jason stays on until another planning commission member is appointed. Then I'm not gonna appoint Jason.
So it's
It's my-
settled anyway.
It's my understanding,
Then it's settled.
He would stay on until an appointment is made, but I'm not gonna appoint him.
but it's,
Well, Gary,
it's my own,
I have a question.
Yep,
Karen and I just went to training this week. And they said before you could have discussion up here, someone has to second it. That opens it up for discussion. Is that true?
right,
yeah, but there's no second.
Right, so we shouldn't be discussing it.
No.
Okay. I mean, we did set 3.5 hours in the class. I want to make sure I took something away from there.
Battery storage. What's the question? What do you want to talk about?
Gary,
Yeah, I think that we should, at least, do some discussion on it, and possibly maybe talk to, our legal counsel again, I'm not sure, but Jason, you were involved with quite a bit of that. And you just attended another planning commission meeting, I believe, last week. So do you have any new information that you can maybe bring to the board? As well as the public here, so we have maybe a little better understanding of where we are and what's happening with the state?
Yes, I believe I do. The, planning commission discussed the resolution, passed by the board to basically return the battery storage text amendment back to the planning commission for additional consideration. And the PC voted, which incidentally, I did not vote on that matter, because I had not received a reappointment from Supervisor Spicer yet. I sat in on the meeting as a holdover because it was unclear to me whether or not I did have the ability to vote. So I did not make any motions or vote at that meeting, which I have subsequently learned that is okay to do as a holdover. However, I just wanted to make sure that that was known. In this particular matter, the planning commission asked to return the resolution to the board for further clarification because there were some things in the resolution that they didn't quite understand, as far as the directives that were given. And they also, expressed concern over some of the issues regarding this topic in light of the legislation that was pending with our township attorney, and a new notion that was entered onto the table at the joint meeting that we held where the attorneys were present, and the concept of demonstrated need capacity in megawatts for a township, because that was not factored into the original text amendment proposed. So I can get into specifics of the resolution in terms of what the planning commission needs additional clarity on from the board. But I did have a subsequent conversation with Michael Homier, as you all know, is the attorney representing 70 some townships on the legislation, and asked for some additional information on how he felt we should proceed. And as he mentioned at the joint meeting, his recommendation is to pursue a CREO as opposed to a working ordinance approach. And he did discuss with me in detail more considerations that would need to be made for an overlay district. So I think as the board's current holdover representative of the planning commission, I guess having talked to him and having sat through several meetings, I think what is needed, and I bring it to the board for consideration, I think what is needed is for the board to give more direct, more specific direction to the planning commission on how we want to tackle this issue. Because the planning commission is an administrative body that considers and grants permits and things like that, whereas the board is actually the legislative body.
Correct.
And I think the planning commission has kind of been pushed into an area where they feel like they're being asked to pick a policy approach to this huge issue, where the board maybe should decide collectively, do we want to pursue a CREO? Are we in fact going to create an overlay district and then commission that work to the planning commission to carry that out through the public hearings and the review process? So that would be my comments on that matter. And I think that we should maybe discuss as a board how we want to deal with not just the battery storage, but solar and wind renewables also, because those should be included in the overlay district discussion.
Did Foster Swift indicate that they have any information on them filing a stay to the state, or have they heard anything?
No, Attorney Homier had not heard anything yet. He was a little surprised by that, but he did say that there was a lot included in the legislation. And I think he said he was hopeful to hear something today or tomorrow. So we don't really have any indication of how the stay or the injunction is going.
So maybe at this point, I guess from what I'm hearing you say is we should get a hold of, Homier and maybe look at developing or creating a Creole in the language. And, pursue that based on his recommendation.
I mean, if the board agrees with his recommendation, yes, I think, you know, this resolution listed some options, but there are actually some additional options on the table for consideration. I'll give you an example. One thing that Attorney Homier said we could do is work with the current workable ordinance that we've drafted and attach an overlay district to that. But he said that that really doesn't serve us any valuable end, because currently, even if we got that passed, currently we're exposed, since we're beyond the November 29th deadline of the law being enacted. So from a technicality standpoint, an energy company could come to our township and request consideration for a project. So if we did the workable ordinance route, we would not be compatible with the state, and therefore they could just bypass us and go directly through the MESC. So
However, if we established a, what was the term?
a Creo,
No,
Overlay district.
overlay
Yeah.
district. In a
Foster
specific
Swift
area.
can have us an overlay district for less than $2,000 with a memo.
So maybe that would be a way
Place to
to,
start.
Yeah.
Would that be a place to start? Get
that's what
Foster
I'm,
Swift to
that's
get
what
going.
I'm, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know.
That will protect us.
That would give us some leeway, because then if a developer of whatever this renewable energy would be, if it's in a overlay district and they don't like it and they can't go anywhere else, then we're off the hook. I mean, basically, right?
I don't know about off the hook.
Well, what
Maybe,
I
but-
mean is they could say, okay, I don't wanna deal with you people. Cause I don't like this overlay district area. It doesn't work for us.
Is our first step to do the overlay
Is that-
district?
Pardon?
First step we should do is the overlay district.
Well, Ken, when you-
Homier also did help with this resolution to set the variables to protect us with the overlay district by setting it at 50 megawatts maximum. About being able to calculate how we got to that. And then basically if the planning commission followed each one of these steps in here, all the whereas, they should have ended up with the answer of a overlay district. And it would what it's trying to do, the overlay district is the township determines the selected area for land use considering the cluster of residential properties, the lake, streams, pond, ditches, drains, water runoff, loud noise problems in the future character of the land, lowering neighborhood property values, contamination of soil and fumes. That's one of the things that they were supposed to look at to see where we would be putting
Right.
the battery storage, and basically that's out of our own zoning ordinance. And then the risk of placing renewable projects in the area of the township shall protect the items listed A through G. And then basically, whereas the 2002 master plan, the following information is stipulated for the 24 projections. We have 13 lakes, we have 84% of farmland, we have a population of 2,720. and we only expect to increase by 135 in the past 10 years, or we've only done that in the past 10 years. We have 964 households, and the megawatt required for a household is in the year 2040 is only 1.2 megawatts total. Commercial would be about 5.8 megawatts, which would have a total megawatts for all the districts would only be 7 megawatts by the year 2040. You don't need any more than 10 megawatts to run our township
So that's
20
why
years
they
from
were-
now.
That's why.
So
they-
the 50, it would be the one that would demonstrate the need for our township,
Correct,
which would be the limiting condition because it's the lowest value
correct,
allowed by the state.
yeah.
And from that, they should have went right into the renewable energy overlay. And then I think the CREO is probably something that should follow that. And I think that we ought to just have Michael Homier is aware of this, Laura's aware of this. I think Laura ought to go ahead and they got a standard one and they just put in Columbia Township and the criteria that we have set forth here, which they gave us.
If the applicant doesn't like the overlay, can they just bypass this?
They could go to the state and try to bypass it, but the state still has to come to the township.
Yeah.
And here we got a resolution that says these are the locations and this is the megawatts that we don't need that much. We only need 10 megawatts. So who's really benefit? Or is our township benefit or someone else? Well, someone else would be the benefit. And the state can't really impose that on us. So what I would recommend is that we get our overlay taken care of by Foster Swift. And then we lead into the other one right after that. I'd even make that a motion.
Well, that's not exactly what our attorney recommended to do on a phone call I had with him yesterday.
What was the recommendation?
Well, that, first of all, I'm curious, Ken, if you said Foster Swift can create an overlay district in a month, does that include the public notice, taking that to the county PC
No,
for 30 days and all that? I mean,
that's
that's not gonna happen in 30
providing it
days.
to the township, and then we'd have to have a public hearing.
We still have to have the timelines the way it was originally set. and we're following.
They could have it to us so that we can finish it up with the hearings and everything we have to do to get it approved. Have to go to the county, I'd have to have a public hearing and then,
Okay, we still have to do the timeline, so they can maybe have one ready to go, but it's not gonna be etched in stone until.
I didn't say it would be ready, I
everything's
said they'd have it to us.
followed. Okay,
Big difference.
okay, so,
Well, the reason I'm suggesting that this should be more further discussed at the board level is our attorney is also saying, if you're going to create an overlay district and also consider a CREO so that you have a compatible ordinance, which does protect us from an energy company going around us to the state. It's the whole idea behind compatible. We might as well include wind and solar in that exercise as well.
okay,
So the megawatt thresholds are not indicative of us being able to put a limit on things. It's a minimum threshold that the state requires. So battery storage is 50 megawatts minimum, solar is 50 megawatts minimum, and wind is 100 megawatts minimum. And so there's a lot to this, Ken. I mean, this is why the planning commission decided to say, hey, this is a bit out of our league. We need some legal help with this because there's legislation pending. We're essentially going up against the state. And his estimation is that in order to create an overlay district that would accommodate wind, solar, and battery storage all in one swoop, we would need a piece of property or a conglomeration of property between 300 and 400 acres. So the map that you sent along, it wasn't clear if you were saying, this is what we want you to create the overlay district around, or this is a suggestion of an overlay district. So all I'm saying is PC needed additional clarification, and I feel like as one who sat on both or sits on both boards, I think it's our duty, because this is such a big deal, to coalesce around how are we gonna handle this as a township? And then activate the planning commission to do their administrative work. Does that make sense? I mean,
Well, yeah.
I think you're right, Gary. It does. Remember when we embarked on this journey way back in the early summer, we created the timeline, which required all these time windows for public
Correct.
notice and public hearings and then
Correct.
go to the county and all this kind of stuff. We will have to do all that again to create a CREO. And so it's just gonna leave our township potentially exposed for another 3 months. So we have to act fast on this, I guess is what I'm saying. We don't really have the luxury to dink around with whether the PC understood this resolution or not. I mean,
So are you saying then that we need to have the attorney create this, the one that we are paying for litigation?
I've already asked him, I guess, in my capacity on the planning commission, to provide draft ordinances of CREOs for wind, solar, and battery, which he says he has available. So I guess once we see those, I feel like it might even be good to hold a special meeting with our attorney to make sure that we're considering all the possible ramifications of the decisions we're about to make on this. I mean, I think an overlay district sounds correct, and I think he thinks it's correct. But I mean, we didn't even have a chance to see like the map that was sent to the PC. Is that parcel, or are those parcels equivalent to 300 to 400 acres? You know, we have to make sure we get the
Well,
right sized
You
overlay.
know, a battery storage only requires 20 acres. A solar will only require about no more than 120 acres.
Mhm.
And when you get into,
Solar.
a
requires a lot
windmill is, each windmill is 1.2 megawatts. And if you're trying to get 50 of them, you'll probably take up a total of about 6 square miles, which is not gonna happen in Columbia Township. Because we don't have 6 square miles that we can use to get 50 megawatts.
Yeah.
Then we also don't have the wind here. And if we limit it to the 50 megawatts, there's just no way they could get that property in our township. So
Well,
that's pretty much not feasible.
But we don't have the property for solar as well.
Well, Homier said he's least concerned about wind because it's the hardest to enforce.
Okay.
So,
To operate too.
but I do respect his opinion that he
Your-
thinks
your
our overlay
criteria-
district should
Your
be.
criteria is you need to be near the high energy lines.
Of course,
You need to be near County Road. I mean, the county road,
Ideally.
well, the amount of traffic you're gonna have, you're gonna need a county road. And that leaves 215 and it leaves 24th Avenue. And Consumers Energy owns a 20-acre plot right off the power lines. And tied to that is Bocky's Busy Bees Farm. And across the street from that is another Bocky's Busy Bee Farm, which gives you plenty of acreage to do your solar. And
You're talking in section 33 of the township?
I'm talking at the intersection of 24th Avenue and County Road 215. North of that is Bocky, they're right up to the Breedsville. And they're right up to the river on the other side. They got that, what do they
Yeah,
call
okay,
it,
yeah.
little house, the migrant house. That land right there and across the street. You're not gonna have a lake that you're gonna be affecting, you're not gonna have the population to affect.
It's satellite.
so are you making a motion that we turn that section of land into an overlay district? I think that's what would be prudent for us to do as a board.
Consumers Energy. What's that?
Are you making a motion that we should
Yeah, that's section.
approach the
33.
strategy of turning those parcels of land into an overlay district? If so, I think that could be part of the clarity and direction that the PC is looking for from our board.
Well, I think at this point, we can, if the board is, having to give them direction, we should be giving the attorneys the direction directly to start generating this instead of waiting for another planning commission meeting.
That's exactly what I'm saying,
You're
Ken.
saying that, I agree with you.
Why did you
Are
send
you
it back to the
are you
planning
seconding my
commission?
motion then?
I don't know what your motion is.
My motion is to take the resolution that our township board approved last month, that we gave to the planning commission, to go through and take this criteria and determine the best thing, and attached to that was a map that showed the area where Baki Busy Bee is, where Consumers Power has the 20 acres, and it showed where the power line was as being the most logical, ideal place to put it. And then it had another little sketch that even showed better Baki's property and Consumers Energy and how far it is off the county road.
Okay, Ken,
I wanna,
Yeah,
I understand you wanna get into the explanation or whatever, but you don't need that all in the motion.
no, I don't.
So what would be your motion?
My motion would be is to take our resolution. Homier was involved with it and send that to Foster Swift to generate a,
Overlay district?
overlay district in accordance with our criteria in here and using
Section,
the map for the location.
I'll just say, I don't know that we need the resolution to do that because the resolution has confusing language. I'll give you one example. In section 10, the township board remands the recommendation of the workable ordinance back to the planning commission and directs the planning commission to consider the following alternatives to a workable ordinance. Number one, workable ordinance. How can we consider a workable ordinance as an alternative to a workable ordinance? Like this resolution, I mean, I don't know. I don't need to go there, I guess.
yes, is that
Can
from?
we create the resolution?
Yeah,
I'm just saying this resolution, if you went through all those steps, that should have led you that you needed to get a renewable energy overlay district to protect our property by setting forth where in our township that you could have renewable energy.
What kind of games are we playing though with the planning commission then? If you're
not
saying this
playing-
should have led the planning commission to this conclusion, and that's the conclusion that you want or we want, why would we not just direct the planning commission to create the overlay district? Like, there's other things in this that don't make any sense, so.
Homier said that we should give the planning commission the options. That was him that said that. It wasn't in there before that.
Okay.
It was a direction from us.
Can he create?
And
can
here
they
we
create-
are in a do loop.
Can he create the overlay district without the resolution right now? Can we approve?
He
that?
doesn't need the resolution. He knows what's in it. He knows the 50 megawatt maximum. He knows the area that we're talking about. They know where the consumer's energy power line is, and they think that's a very reasonable, logical position to have it because it's close to the power lines on my main road.
So can the motion be to approve for them to do the overlay district? And bring it back to the board?
I make a motion that the Foster Swift be hired to generate the
overlay district.
renewable energy overlay district. That way it'll cover all three: wind, solar. and
I will
battery storage.
second that, but I have a comment on discussion.
Yeah,
If the attorneys are giving advice and telling people different things, I don't think anything they say, unless it's in writing, should be brought to this board.
Correct.
I'm tired of hearing this one said this one
Yep.
said that. We have three attorneys saying three different things half the time.
I agree with
So
you.
unless they put it in writing, I don't think we should listen to any of it.
I agree with you.
It's very confusing.
The cost to have Foster Swift do this is $2,000.
That's what I was
Not
told
to
by
exceed.
Laura.
Did they put it in writing?
Yeah, right.
I'm sure they will.
The cost of the
So
motion.
should we put the not to exceed in the motion?
Yeah, you'd put that in there.
Do you want it? It's your motion.
Huh?
Do you want it in there? It's your
I'd rather not have it in there. I'd rather have it done, and if we have run into problems, we can adjust it.
Okay, so what is the motion?
Motion to hire Foster Swift to generate the renewable energy overlay district
Ordinance,
ordinance.
Yeah.
District, wait, overlay ordinance.
yeah, ordinance, then text amendment,
Those are two different things.
Yeah,
You will need a text amendment and an order.
we will, but we need an overlay district first.
Well, the overlay district is an ordinance on how to do an overlay district. And it'll include the maps and everything, revision to the map and that. It all comes in an ordinance.
Ordinance.
Okay, I think Foster Swift would know that, so I think we would leave it as your
leave off ordinance or what they have to,
Motion
do, or text amendment, just that they're gonna do our overlay district. How's that sound?
Beautiful.
Painful.
Shouldn't be this hard.
Okay, I got a motion. Can I get a second?
I second
Mary
it.
second.
Okay, I got 2 seconds. Who was first?
Mary
Mary?
seconded it.
I
Mary.
second.
Mary's got it. Money's, Jason,
Yes.
Cara,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
And
Ken, yes. Thank you, Mary.
What else? were
Okay.
we adding?
Did that
Something else.
answer your question on discussion of that? Do we want to talk about the Creo now? We're gonna lead into that from this, right?
Text amendment change, did you wanna talk about that?
Text amendment change? Yeah, I guess that's the next thing.
Unless you're wrapping Creo with the battery storage update, which I think would be wise.
Yeah,
What's that?
Rather than go to the text amendment item next, I think we should discuss the Creo because it is attached to the overlay approach.
Sure.
Um,
go
They-
ahead.
Well, let me just ask this. Does Foster Swift have a standard Creo that he's using for his other townships?
yes,
And he's going to be using that standard for us?
at least as a starting point for us to review, yes.
Yeah,
Do we have an idea of the cost of that?
No, I did not ask that.
Do we want that first?
A cost?
The cost estimate? It can't be much if he's already got it there and
I don't think we should delay getting something in place to protect our township any longer than we have to. So I would make a motion that we go ahead and proceed with Foster Swift preparing a Creo text amendment ordinance for us for all renewable energy. It's capital C, capital R, capital E, capital O. It's an acronym.
Proceed to have Foster should prepare a Creo renewable ordinance, what was the rest, sorry?
For all renewable energy. I guess if you think we should spell out
I don't think,
energy
All
storage,
renewable
solar,
energy.
wind, I don't know.
that's a catch-all.
Okay,
So is that a
That's his
motion?
motion.
yeah,
That is
Jason
my
made a
motion.
motion.
Okay,
You second?
yep,
Gary seconded it? Jason,
yes,
Cara,
Sure, yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Gary,
yes.
Ken, yes. What's our next thing? Text amendment?
Yep.
Again, our text amendment that we have is a workable, correct?
this
Or
is,
the language in
this
there?
is the text amendments for the zoning ordinance amendments. That's what you wanted on the agenda, correct?
Yes,
Which one, the accessory buildings?
All three.
All three.
Do you want to tee that up, Gary, or would you like me to speak to that from a planning commission
well,
standpoint as well?
yeah, because you may have some other information that I'm not aware of.
Yeah. I guess the best way I could summarize where I think we're at on this is that the board the next steps for this is squarely in the board's lap. And I guess I need to speak directly to you, Ken, because you had sent an email stating that you did not put this on the agenda because, the PC had not given a written response to the county's findings. And, I did ask our attorney if that was required. And I don't have this in writing, but I'm sure I could get it in writing. He said that is not required. That once the PC makes a recommendation to the board and then it goes to the county, after the county reviews it, it goes back to the board. It does not go back to the planning commission for any other reason. So, I believe that there's been a number of reasons why this hasn't gotten to our agenda. And candidly, from where I'm sitting, it feels like a stall tactic. And I think that the one thing that we need, I propose that we need to do is, because we received a certified letter requesting a hearing, we should send a certified letter to that resident stating that this will be on the agenda in January. We are taking this up in January so that they can be properly notified as the MCL code requires. But the idea that the PC hasn't fulfilled its duties and that's why the board is not taking this up, according to everything that I've heard from our attorney, is not accurate. And so I think in January, when this comes back around and we properly notice the resident that requested a hearing, by the way, it's not, a public hearing is not needed. It's just a hearing. So the hearing can be a component of our board meeting on the agenda. Once that is properly noticed and executed, then it really is incumbent on this board, whether we vote it up or down, to bring it to a vote. And I'll say why this is important, because I think there's been a lot of conversation about this as to whether these text amendments are something that our township wants or not. And I can tell you that the PC took up this matter based on inquiries that we were getting from residents and building permit applications. And I asked our zoning administrator to give me a report of how many inquiries came in during this year for either situations requiring minimum dwelling, which this text amendment, minimum dwelling size, which this text amendment addresses, or barn dominiums, which this text amendment also addresses. And she said that there have been 17 inquiries this year alone. And just recently at the last planning commission meeting, our chairperson brought together another letter from a resident stating, I heard the planning commission's considering whether or not to allow barn dominiums in our township. I have a keen interest in doing this. I would like to construct such a structure. And so the interest is there. And I think our board needs to bring it to a vote and either vote it up or down. But the idea of just keep not putting this on the agenda, and putting up roadblocks as to why the planning commission didn't do things appropriately needs to stop.
I have a question. What's the difference between a barn dominium and what's on the corner of 50th and 384? I thought that was a barn dominium. You have 700 square foot of living space in a big pole barn on the end of 50th, going toward 384.
I don't know which road 50
The big
is,
blue
I'm
one?
sorry.
Right by me. If it goes to the fire.
The big blue one?
The one next to the house that you've been doing the blight next to.
Yeah, the big blue
Is that
one.
a barn dominium?
I don't think so. I think it is, well, I don't know if there's living quarters in there. It's not.
Well, the Amish said when they were building it, they had to put 720 square feet of living quarters for them to be able to put that up there. So my question
Oh.
is, what's the difference between that and a barn dominium? Because to me, it feels like the same thing. Do I have to go back and look at what that building permit was to see if it was a barn? Is it called a barn dominium?
I don't know what that structure is you're referring to, Mary. I'll try to look at it, but I think the matter is that the planning commission recommended to the board to remove the requirement of a perimeter foundation in a residential dwelling. So a barn dominium simply means it,
Pole
I
barn
mean, I don't know if
structure?
there's an official definition of barn dominium. It's kind of a term, but it's a pole structure
Okay,
that is allowable as a residence. Currently, our ordinance does not permit a barn dominium as a residence.
And that's
Because it
a-
does not have a perimeter foundation.
And it has a slab as a,
It would have a slab as a foundation, or not even a foundation, it
Yeah.
has a slab as a floor.
Yeah.
But it's a pole structure building.
Kind of like the building we're in. Right?
I
That was this one.
think so, is this a pole structure? I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah. Right,
so,
so that's one of the three text amendments that was recommended, was to remove the requirement of perimeter foundation for residential dwellings in our township. And I'm just saying, there's been 17 inquiries about that, or buildings, a residence smaller than our ordinances currently allow for from a square footage standpoint. PC is recommending to move that down to 720 square feet for a residence.
I thought it was 720.
720 is for,
It's
a mobile
720,
home.
but it
There's no-
requires an additional 150 square feet for every bedroom.
Correct.
It tacks on kind of this weird criteria that bedrooms have to be 150 square feet on top of that. So it would remove that. You could have 750 square feet, including bedrooms.
See, and that's applicable now to mobile homes. 720 square feet's minimum, 14 foot. They have to be 14 foot
Right.
wide.
I mean, it's just, it kind of feels crazy to me that we're finally discussing this now in December, but I guess it is what it is. I think the recommendation was made back in
Well,
June, but
if that's what the taxpayers want, if there's an indication that they want this, and that it's gonna increase value of property, wherever they put these, which is gonna increase our tax base, which is gonna allow more money coming into the township for maybe use and for other amenities and things.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't vote on it now. I guess my comments would be, we should definitely not delay in sending a certified letter to the resident who requested a hearing and making sure this is on our agenda in January, because otherwise this board is not doing what it's supposed to do in this
Yeah, yeah.
process.
And it's my understanding that all we have to do is send a certified letter to the one person that requested to be present. It's not a
Correct.
public
Correct.
meeting.
That is correct.
It's at our public meeting though.
Pardon?
It would be at our
Well,
public
yeah,
meeting.
yeah, well, yeah,
It'd be
yeah.
at a regular board
At a
meeting,
regular
but it
board
would be classified as a hearing, not a public hearing. So they would get their chance to speak specifically on this matter once we opened the hearing up at the meeting. Then when they were done speaking, we would close the hearing.
Okay, so do we need a motion to move it to the January meeting and
I think
send?
you ought to let everyone talk. I've been letting you guys,
Okay, okay.
laugh for a while here. The first thing I'm gonna say is why has our zoning ordinance not allowed a dwelling on a vacant lot or not allowed a building on a vacant lot since 1965?
It was a good year.
Second thing I'm gonna ask you is, why did our original planner that laid out our zoning ordinance require a dwelling on all lots in the residential district? Do you know the answer to those?
I wasn't around in 1965.
I wouldn't either, but I looked it up. You know the answer?
I wasn't around either,
Okay.
but I can find out.
It sounds, Ken, I'm gonna stop
Has
because
everyone
it's.
here, no, just hold on.
Well, it sounds like
Hey,
you're building
I
a
didn't
case to
interrupt
vote
you.
no.
I did not interrupt you.
Okay, go ahead. But we're discussing something we can't vote on tonight anyways.
We're going, something we can't vote on, but if you wanna know why I didn't put it in here, is because there is criteria that you need to follow, and you don't know why you're taking something out of our ordinance that's been there forever. And we have all these residents that have complied with this requirement for all these years, and today we're gonna change it so that we could put a building on any vacant lot in our residential district. The reason that, what is it, Leslie and company, planner, did this is that we have more out-of-state residents than we have population residents. Then we have 84% of our land and farming. And for us to have a population growth, to stay up with the other communities, they wanted to make sure that our residential districts, number one, were used for the population so that how we get our taxes is an increase in property tax or in sales tax, not on property taxes. The second thing that they said is that if we allow vacant lots to have other type uses, it would diminish the value, the character of the district, and actually end up ruining your community. That's what they said back when. And that's why I'm against that. The other thing, 150 square feet is 12 by 12 and a half feet. If I grab my architectural handbook for a bedroom, it says it's gotta be 12 by 12 and 1/2 to meet health and public healthy for living conditions. And here you want to say if you have 3 bedrooms, you don't need to add the extra 150 feet. My answer to that is if you're gonna say you want a 720 square foot ground thing, then if they want a 3rd bedroom, they need to add on a 2nd floor. If you look at the area that you have, you're telling them they could build a 24 by 30 foot house. And that's only good for 2 bedrooms, if you design one. So, you know, you're off on it. I mean, the other thing is that when we have house trailers here, back in the day, we were getting so many house trailers in here. One of the ways that they wanted to restrict the house trailers is they had a criteria that we need to have a 14 footer. And then 60 feet long, minimum. And then basically what that did is kept these 12 foot by 40 foot trailers coming in here and crashing up the small lots. And that's why that criteria is there. You don't know that. You haven't been doing this as long as I have. I know that. But what is the third thing you have? Foundations.
Barn dominium.
Do you,
You say per state code, you don't say what code, but I'm assuming that it's what we approved. The International Building Code of 2015. You probably don't know that's our code. You go there, you go to section 303, and it says you need a professional engineer or an architect that can put a PE stamp on that drawing for that footing for that. They recommend that you don't put it near the water, lakes or streams, because the poles will rot. You have about a 50-year life on a pole barn in a wet area. So in 50 years from now, not my kids, maybe not anyone's kids out here, but somebody's kids gonna end up buying a pole barn that doesn't have any posts in the ground anymore. So they don't recommend it in wetlands or that, and you're gonna let them all over every residential district. Now, I'm not opposed for some of this stuff in the ag district. I am opposed that you're putting this into the residential district where we're supposed to be protecting those residential districts from this type of activity. Now, I'm not trying to prevent this from coming to the township board, but when you give me something like this and there's two written comments to your public hearing that's not in this package, does she know what they said? Does she know what they said? Do you know what they said?
What public comments?
There were written public comments that was given to the PC, and they're not in this package that you got. And those public comments probably ought to be listened to. At least you should have talked about it. And then when the state comes back, Van Buren County, and it says that a motion by Peter, supported by, I can't read his name, not to concur with the proposed Columbia Township text amendment was approved unanimously. Well, that's, to me, is a big red flag. Why didn't they want to approve it? And basically, it says it allows them to build a structure accessory without a lengthy approval process where there is a concern of potential conflict with a township master plan, which is emphasized maintaining the rural and residential care of the community. Reducing oversight might lead to the developments that do not align with a broader vision, preserving neighborhood integrity. don't think you need to answer that as a planning commission? Like, you guys not wanna know why?
How do you know it's not gonna improve the integrity of the community?
Because you're putting a building on a vacant lot between $200,000 homes, and what do you think's gonna happen when they put a fence around it and come in with cars and start doing work at night?
That's totally speculative.
Are
Exactly
you
what's
done,
gonna happen.
Ken?
No, I'm not done yet.
Okay.
The planning commission members also understand that there's a proposed amendment that establishes clear regulations, including specific size and limits, and ownership setbacks up to that. There is a concern that the existing special use permit process ensures transparency by notifying the neighboring property owners and allowing the community feedback. Removing this step of notifying the neighbors could lead to the lack of community engagement and potential disputes over the development. Why not use the special use permit and let the neighbors know that they're gonna have a building put next to their nice, beautiful home in the residential district? I don't think you need it out in ag, but in the residential district, you need to protect them. This is a proposed amendment can be seen as a way to encourage the development of vacant lands, reducing blight and improving township appearance to help revitalize the underuse of space that contributed positive to the township's aesthetics, but it's also a concern that allowing accessory buildings without the special use permit risks disruptive of the character of the residential and agricultural zones, potentially leading to a decline in the unique quality of certain areas, particularly clear, sensitive locations like lakefronts. That's what they had to say, and we have nothing justifying to us why they don't have to, why we just go approve it.
So after all your discussion and emphasis on different things that you covered there, you would rather have somebody's whatever equipment it is sitting out in the vacant lot next to $100,000, $200,000 home that the people have to look at all the time instead of putting it into a nice building.
Gary, that's adjacent to their house. They have every right to build that building. They have every right to build that building.
I'm talking a vacant lot.
Vacant lot, they should not have that.
Hey,
that
Gary,
capability.
I'm sorry, could I step in for a second?
Sure.
So Ken, thank you for sharing all your opinions on those text amendments, which is, you are certainly entitled to. But how the process is supposed to work is that you get to vote on whether we approve those. You have been effectively blocking this from coming to the board to vote on these. You have. You pulled it from the.
You can't vote on this till you have that public hearing.
I understand that. That's why I'm recommending that we send the certified letter and put this on the agenda in January.
That was sent to me saying that we need to approve it tonight.
No, what do you mean?
No.
Tasha simply sent you the packet saying,
Saying the package to.
why has this not been put on the board's agenda yet? And I'm asking the same question. We get to another month where we just are continually kicking this can down the road. How it works, Ken, is you can vote no because of all those reasons you just stated, but you can't not bring it to the board and let everybody else vote on it.
And the reason we can't vote on it now is because the certified letter hasn't been sent out.
When this comes to the board, you're supposed to vote on it.
Not. Who said?
When this, well, that's what the process said.
And why wasn't it on the agenda?
Huh?
Why wasn't it on the agenda?
If you believe.
Because it's not complete.
No.
Why would you want to review something that's not complete? Would you want to review something that doesn't have the comments in it or have, all the information and reasons why they're picking what they're picking?
Okay, I'd like to make a motion, please.
You make a motion.
I would like to make a motion that the board, I guess the clerk, send a certified letter to the resident who requested a hearing, and that we state that hearing will be held at our January meeting on this issue.
Do you want that before the board meeting? The hearing?
No, I think it can happen at the board meeting.
During the meeting, okay. Jason made a motion. I got a second?
I'll second it.
Gary seconded it.
Okay, now I can ask a couple questions. When this comes to the board, are these all three in one? Or are we gonna be voting on these separately?
We are allowed to split them up separately.
Okay,
Actually, I think Tasha may have put the minimum square footage text amendment with the perimeter foundation text amendment. Because those are a building permit issue, and the other one with the accessory building is a special use permit
Special use
issue.
permit.
So I guess it would be 2 and 1. I mean, they could be split up 3 separate if we prefer that as a board, but I think the way they're written right now, or the way that they're presented right now, is 2 bundled together in 1 separate.
Any other discussion?
Yes, sir. Jason?
Does this require a roll call vote? I'm happy to do it. I'm just curious.
I don't
There's no
think there's any money
money
involved or anything.
No, I
We can do
know,
roll
it's,
call.
not money. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nays? I'm a nay.
Can I ask why you don't want to put that on the agenda in January, Ken?
If this is what you're giving us, I don't think it's, complete. And if that's what I'm gonna get, which I've already got,
Our attorneys differ with you, but that's okay.
well, she can do whatever she wants. She doesn't sit up here.
So you're discussing the township attorney be at meetings?
Is that our next issue?
I believe so.
Seems very appropriate.
And the proposal procedural voting matter.
Ready for public comment?
of those.
We've got two
We already have 2 other items on our agenda.
We got another thing?
Yeah. Case in point with what we just went through and the comments made earlier about attorneys not putting things in writing or whatever. I just think since I've been on the board, I've experienced more than 2 handfuls of situations where we run into a legal quandary. And there's a lot of back and forth about that in emails. And I think that it would be prudent for our board to take up the matter and consider having our legal counsel present at our board meetings so that they can make sure that we don't get off track on things like this for at least the next 6 months to observe and keep us on track. And I'm prepared to make a motion to that regard.
Second.
Is that the motion on there, Karen?
Say your motion, sorry. Motion to have attorney present.
That the board approve, I guess,
To have attorney present.
budget to have attorney present at our regular board meetings for the next 6 months.
I'll second it.
Okay, comments on this. Anytime you guys want something put on the agenda, you just have to get 3 people to tell the township, or 2 people and the township clerk, and it gets on the agenda. You don't need to have an attorney here to talk about what's on the agenda or not on the agenda. If I don't put something on the agenda, all you have to do is go to somebody else, or you could ask me to put it on the agenda.
We did that tonight.
Huh?
We did that tonight.
I think you're missing.
Yeah, you got it on.
That's
tonight.
not why I want.
What I'm trying to say is that if you think you need an attorney here because you can't get something on the agenda, all you have to do is get.
That's not at all why I want the attorney here.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. It's a money thing. Jason?
Is there any other discussion?
I guess I'm concerned about the cost. I mean, it seems pretty, I don't know. Seems like we could do a better job preparing before the meetings ourselves than have to have an attorney here for the next 6 months. I guess it just brought on quick, rather than knowing all the details behind it. So I just like more information, I guess, about it.
My only concern would be is that sometimes things are presented partially. not the complete story. And I don't go for that.
Neither do I.
I think that whenever anything's brought to the board, it shouldn't be cherry picked in MCLs. It shouldn't be half truths. Because in my mind, that borders on deception.
It's also hard when you have three different attorneys saying three different things, Gary.
Well, if we have Foster Swift here, that's who's gonna be our attorney at the time. And whether you have, and Homier and Foster Swift has said they work for the whole board, not one person. And if you have people sending emails and asking questions and whatever, I've been in court enough times, now mostly criminal cases. But if you ask a leading question, you're gonna get the answer you want. So if everybody asks the same or present when this question's asked, then you get a more affirmative answer.
Why isn't the board getting some sort of summary? Like, if someone asks a question, we should all get a summary of what the answer.
As long as we have a question with the answer.
I guess like, I don't know when Jason's emailing the attorney or Ken or you, like, so it's like
Exactly.
confusing. There should be a better way.
At the meeting, then everybody hears.
Yeah.
There should be a better way, Kara. I think that those sort of things are happening right now. Because the board frequently receives emails that cite numerous MCL codes and interpretations of them that we are supposed to take at face value. And I personally have experienced at least 3 or 4 times where when that is questioned, our attorneys say, nope, that is not a correct interpretation of the MCL code as it is presented. So there's too much at stake and too much back and forth about this is how we need to do things based on this code. I just think that we need to be able to have verification on the spot that that is how we are supposed to do things.
Is it something they can look at, like our agenda before the meeting and not have that cost of them coming to the meeting? Like, provide their legal summary towards the agenda?
Again, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
As long as everybody has the same
Right,
question.
yeah. I'm just trying to negate the cost of them traveling here, because we just paid those bills and it was a
Oh,
lot.
I know.
We have a
But-
question on.
Well, our biggest issue is this planning commission stuff.
Yeah,
So maybe they'll all be here when we're talking planning commission.
yeah, like, yeah, you could pick
And then
what
not,
meetings would
be here every other
beneficial.
time. We don't have planning commission. They don't have to stick around. We put it on the beginning of the agenda and that's that. Cause it's strictly related to planning commission and the changes being made that I think are outside the realm of what we should be doing. Then that is my personal opinion.
I think it's smart to have guidance and all that, but we just have to think about it.
So we have a motion and a second, should we?
Is there a motion and a second?
Yeah.
You made a motion, you
Jason,
seconded
you
it.
second.
So we need a roll call.
You could say no now and then redo the motion afterwards, or you could say yes and it moves forward. Whatever you wanna do.
So it's up to me, right?
What do you mean?
Or
Right
no,
now.
we have to all vote. on
Okay,
it. We have
yeah,
to all
What do you
give our.
mean?
we all have to say yes or no.
Yeah, this is a vote. It's money. Jason said yes.
Okay, I'm right now, no.
Mary,
No,
Gary,
Yes.
I'm a no. Did you wanna make a motion for during planning commission stuff? All you have to do is say no or yes.
Well,
Because you made the comment.
well, I think it's smart to have them at meetings we need to have them at. But I don't know if that warrants like a motion. I feel like we
Okay.
could just do that.
I think what we discussed too was when we quote what the attorney says, have them put it in writing so we can all see it.
Right, like ask them to provide some sort of summary to,
I mean, here's the issue. Kara and I are looking at the bills every single time, and that's why we're getting a little edgy. Cause they're getting big.
Can we ask
I
questions or
don't
not?
have a problem with what Kara and Mary are talking about, because I don't like to spend needless money either. Because I'm looking out for the taxpayers. However, if we get something in writing from the attorneys, I want the question that was asked the attorney in writing also. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I think that, what we'll do is any question I ask the attorney, I will copy all the board members on.
yeah, that's great.
Will that solve it?
This is not, okay, we already
Well, I don't
voted.
talk
It's
to them
not
that
the
often.
issue. This is not the issue.
I-
The issue was completely missed.
Well, you're trying to make the issue me.
Just go for
No,
January.
the issue is you.
Well, I know you think the issue is me, and so does Gary. And that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Well,
Us
You're gonna have, you'll get a
We have public
public comment
comment.
in a few minutes.
let me just finish this thought and then we can move on. The issue is not as it relates solely to the planning commission. I will cite two examples that have happened in very recent times. Ken, you told me when we met that you were not required to appoint someone from the board to the planning commission. That is factually incorrect according to Michigan law. You also said that I was not allowed to go to the board and participate in the board meeting because my term has expired. And when that was checked out from a legal standpoint, that was also proven to be factually incorrect.
Unfortunately, our Foster Swift attorney told me that, and then they, had a conference with other attorneys and rescinded that and told me that they were incorrect and that, you would stay on. So I got that from the attorney. So yes, you could blame me for saying it, but the source I got, it was Laura, told me that. And she also, I don't have my phone here, but I got a text message from her saying that she was incorrect. And when she said she was incorrect, I told you tonight that exactly how it goes. You stay on until
Then maybe.
someone's appointed by me.
Then maybe I'll make a different motion that we have Michael Homier specifically from Foster Swift attend our regular meetings, because when I asked him about those particular issues, he went right to the MCL code and said, nope, that's not right. So I don't know who Laura's talking to or where she's getting her information, but maybe sounds like we should talk to a different person at Foster Swift.
Fine, we have Homier here. I think they're the same building, right?
Who's higher?
I don't think you need a motion for that. I think we just tell Homier we want him here.
Didn't you just vote no for that? To have
No,
our
I
attorney
didn't-
here
I
at the
didn't
meeting?
vote no for that. I'm just saying that I go to no, it passed. I'm on board. You gotta understand, when I say no and you say yes, I go yes. I didn't have the way it's supposed to be.
What?
We voted no for the attorney here. Kara and I and you were nays.
Oh,
Gary and Jason were yays.
Right.
We voted no.
yeah. And then we had a discussion about
And
having them
here's
here
my
when
other
we're
discussion.
talking about zoning stuff.
When the attorney sends us a text and says, oops, I was wrong, I hope she's refunding us per hour or two.
You made a motion?
I did. I made another motion.
Got a second?
What was the motion?
He wants
I made a
Homier
motion
here.
that's a different motion to have Michael Homier from Foster Swift, which I didn't specify an attorney or a firm. I just said legal representation at the previous motion. I make another motion to have Michael Homier present at our regular board meetings for the next 6 months.
Would you maybe say if needed in that?
Why don't you start with January?
I think it's needed. I mean, I don't know how to make my case any other way. I don't trust the advice we're getting on how we're supposed to address issues and conduct business in the township. And I feel like we need a lawyer present to make sure that what we are being told is allowable or not allowable is accurate.
Is it something we can have a special meeting for, like? I don't know.
Say, that's my motion.
Jason, what's your, what, vote? You're a yes?
He doesn't have a
We
second.
don't
yet.
have a
Oh,
second
yeah, let's
yet.
go
This is
second.
what I'm talking about.
I already had it written down. I'm ready to go. I'm getting tired.
If there's no second, it's fine. I'm just basically expressing my opinion. I'm
Is
done.
there a second?
Yeah, I'll second
I figured you're a second.
it. Sure,
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Jason?
Yes.
Tara?
No.
Mary?
No,
Gary?
yes.
Ken's a no. Okay, we got anything else?
This is gonna seem really inconsequential, but, one of the things I've been thinking about for a while is how we, conduct business when we call for a roll call vote. The vote always goes left to right. And I think that at the county commissioners, the person who makes the motion usually votes first, and then the vote proceeds to the right from that manner. And I think it mixes up the order enough to give certain people an opportunity to think more about how they want to vote. And so I would propose or make a motion that we adopt that as our procedural rule of order when we take roll call votes, that the person who makes a motion votes first. And then I don't care, Ken, if you want to go left to right or right to left, it doesn't matter. I just think that's good practice.
That's similar to church.
But we need some church up in here.
I'll second it.
Was that on the agenda?
He
Yes,
added that.
That is
that's
the
what we
agenda.
had.
Is that on the agenda? Okay. Mary's seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so that was,
That's everything that's on the agenda.
I don't know.
Yes, it is. I'm telling you.
Is that everything?
Everything.
We got everything?
Yeah.
It's time for public comment.
Okay, now we go to public comment.
Just quickly after being able to see how it works in person, really. My name is Ann Walker, and my husband and I, are now full-time residents of the area. And, where we had our lake house here, we've made that our full-time residence as of this fall.
Lake?
North Lake.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yes, yes.
Sorry.
And we've encountered many, we've encountered a lot of pushbacks, but everybody has the right to have their thoughts and how they want to proceed. Just after viewing this, and I don't really have a lot of experience, but, my suggestion absolutely would be to support having an attorney. If you can't have them here for 6 months, have them here for 3 months. Put them on FaceTime instead, so they don't have travel costs. I understand it is very costly, but those are some options. I think you need that because I think, unless you're an attorney representing the board, it's left up to interpretation and may be misconstrued and or opinion, whatnot. And I just think it lends as a, homeowner here, as a taxpayer, we want transparency. And I know we've experienced in the past where we have felt things have been put on the side, in order to hamper and have speed bumps. I mean, we know it. And that's perception is reality. And everybody does have a vote. And I would think it would be, I know it's expensive, but I think it's money well worth. And it gives validity to the board. So that's just what I have to say.
Thanks, Ann.
Yaron?
Of course. I think you didn't want this on for discussion for the text amendment because you didn't want to approve it. But in doing that, you actually proved that you were blocking the topic. You actually finally got to say what was on your mind, which was probably a good, healthy thing to do. I totally agree with what Ann just said. I am often saying, don't spend too much, don't spend too much, but on this, I agree, it is money well spent. It might actually save you money. Rather than having various people call on the same topic, you have everyone hearing the same thing at the same time. It is more fair and less likely to be misinterpreted, or it can be clarified on the spot. And the other points that you made too, if 6 months is too long, for sure we need it in January, because we're gonna have that public hearing for Flamangs. And go from there, and also the idea of FaceTime, Zoom, whatever, to save the travel charges. I appreciate when people are trying to save money, but there are times, and I believe this is one, as they stated too, where it's beneficial for the township and even for you guys. I feel like this is somebody in everybody's corner that's unbiased, that takes pressure off from you. So I am totally in favor of doing this, at least giving it a try.
Can I just chime in? Are you done?
Yep. Oh, so Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Maybe I could start with Merry Christmas, but, one of the things that we do on our board on North Lake, and anytime we text or email an attorney, everything's in writing and everybody is CC. I have gazillion emails and most of them are from Ann's husband, Jeff. But we know what the question was, we know what the answers are, even if it's doesn't, and it does pertain to us. We're small, we're little, but we communicate, everybody knows what was asked and how it was asked. And you have it in writing.
And you have opinions too, and that's fine,
Of course.
because that's, you know, everybody's different, but
Right.
it's that whole communication. And you know what, and I just say one other thing, is that when we've had like our lake meetings, you know, and we find that, you know, we bring in the experts and they really, you know, they take that burden off the shoulders, because if somebody hears that same individual, you know, it takes sometimes somebody else or somebody who is an expert, be it legal, be it scientific, whatnot. It just, I think it just helps out, so.
What was your name again? Gail McLaughlin.
Thanks, Gail.
And can I add also, I wanted to meet the new board members, and I'll be working with you. I'm the treasurer, and I just need to know what you need from us. And we'll communicate, our needs also.
Karen, did you want to finish up? Did you get it finished?
I was finished, except my last thing was, the decorations are pretty, Gary's working on getting the other names, and Merry Christmas. Aren't you? Yes, you are.
He said he was updating us.
JC?
So after having lived here, J.C. Robertson, 55130 County Road 34. Well, I say that because, you know, people may want to go look at my Christmas decorations, because I'm really proud of them. 23 years I've lived here, raised all my boys here. I like Loving Township. We have a tendency to keep talking about the way things used to be. 1965 is a long time ago. Not that we should throw out the baby with the bathwater, to use an old saying. But there comes a time when technology has surpassed 1965 thinking. Maybe that's now. Those people are dead, most of them. We're looking for now into the future. What do I want to leave for my boys as I leave this place. No surprise. My thing is emergency services. I want everybody to be able to have an ambulance when they need it, fire when they need it, and anybody else in between for those moments of time. I looked at my tax bill when I came in, and I'm paying taxes for things that I totally disagree with, and I'm not paying enough taxes for the things I do want. Regardless of the thoughts that everybody gets to say. Just because we don't like something, doesn't mean it's not good for us. And just because we do like something, doesn't mean it is good. And so as we come through this season, which is supposed to be a cheer, let us remember we are all on the same team. We all want the same thing. And I put it out to you all, if you have a question about anything, to my knowledge, I've never lied to anybody. Ask me, because when you go around my back and ask somebody else, it feels like an attack. Tim McGee from Van Buren County called me today, wanting to know why the board wants to know what the first couple of weeks of December were. I always give you everything. We fixed that, Gary, we fixed that, I don't know, a year ago. I'll give you whatever you want. Ask. Oh, yeah.
I'll comment on that. I called him. He wasn't there, so I'm real curious to talk to him tomorrow and find out how he gets his messages when he's not there. And I called because we had $500 in overtime, and before I heard back from you, I'm like, what happened the first 2 weeks? Because now we're not gonna discuss this, I mean, we're discussing it now, but we won't discuss it until January. Like, did we ever approve that kind, I mean, did we put a cap on that kind of overtime? What the heck happened? And so I'm asking, like, what happened? Was there like 15 fires? I sent a message to you, like, what's going on?
You got her butts?
And you said you got your butts kicked. Okay, what does that mean?
I'll go back. And
So
again, I'll answer
if you
any
feel like I
question.
overstepped you, then I'm sorry, I did message you first. I called and said, like, I wanted some information before I met you, like, what's going on? I could have asked you, I don't know who provides those reports.
I do.
Oh, so you can log on and get that for us.
Tim gives, I have that report on a moment, every call. There was a call went out while we were sitting here tonight. I can give you the information, there's a call tonight.
So if I want 2 weeks worth, you can give me that before.
I can, it'll take me a minute to tabulate, because I only do it really once a month, but I can.
Okay,
But I'm here to tell you that what the board agreed to last year when I took over was, as long as I stayed in my budget, you were gonna leave me alone.
so if that's,
So far, I'm still in my budget.
and you're gonna be able to stay in your budget.
I can't say
Okay.
yes or no. How can I say yes or no? We're not done yet.
As long as you're in your budget, we'll leave you alone. I just, that was a
Because
lot
I've
of
been throwing
money
stuff
for
away
people.
to stay on budget. I said, no, we're not doing that. No, we're not doing that. No, we're not doing that. Until I'm a liar. I will.
Then you've got a bigger plan that I can see, so I'll leave it to you to make sure you have everything in your budget.
Thank you.
Yes, Dixie.
Right there. I have a couple of things. This is just as a side note for the board to start thinking about. There's such things as teeny house on wheels. And so they're not, I don't think down to, I think they're smaller than 720 square feet. We need to think about how, trends are changing. So when we change our zoning ordinance, we don't want people to like pull in these little teeny homes on wheels and park them in Columbia Township on some type of slab. So I think we need to take that into consideration when we think about these things. That's my first thought. The second thing is Ken is not an attorney, even though he cites Michigan compiled law, that doesn't mean that he is right. All of you have the opportunity to go to the MTA, read the law, whatever it might be. So by pointing your finger, like say, you're wrong. No, he's not. You might consider him to be wrong. The attorney might consider him to be wrong. Well, what he's giving you is his opinion. He is not an attorney. So when you take it to mean that that's what's gospel, I think that you're under a misunderstanding there. Secondly, about having the attorney at every meeting, why would we do that if we didn't have something that was impactful, that we needed an attorney here? What if we just have plain vanilla stuff? And we don't have money for the fire department, we don't have money for the transfer station, people don't want to increase their tax base, but we're going to spend the limited resources that we have on attorney just to have them sit here if we have plain vanilla. Now, granted, I can understand with the overlay district and like complicated things, having an attorney present for that, but not for every meeting. Now, in the past, like, let's say 15 years ago, they had an attorney on contract. So I don't know if by chance the board wants to go that direction, maybe get one on contract for the 12 months with a reduced rate and have it built in as opposed to paying an hourly rate. Okay.
Everyone done out there? Board members, Jason?
Yep, I have a couple things to add to my written report. I just wanted to let the board know, if you didn't know this already, but I have purchased and started on, am about halfway through the Citizen Planner course from MSU Extension. If it wasn't clear, I would like to make it publicly known. I think this was clear that I did inform Ken of my desire to remain on the PC during a meeting that we had a couple weeks ago. And I guess, maybe specifically to Dixie, your comment, I understand everything you're saying, but I would just, we don't have to think too long ago where the township was sued to the tune of several $100,000 for not doing things the way they're supposed to do. And so
Follow procedure.
our township was sued for not following procedure.
But, okay.
And I'm just saying that, yes.
Once you're sued, you have a time period to rectify whatever's wrong, which could have been.
I don't want to get there. I'm just saying that you said that it's a lot of money, and I agree, but it's a lot more money to get sued. And I just am, I guess, defending my point that I think it's an expenditure worth having to make sure that we don't put ourselves in a position where we're not doing things appropriately or legally. So the end.
Kara, do you have anything?
No.
So excited you are.
Mary?
Yes, I do. With bringing up the 720 square feet on wheels, I guess I would want those separated before I vote on them. I'm not gonna vote on the barn dominium and the 720 square feet separately. They seem, I don't know if those should go together is my question. Secondly, with the attorney, we all have MTA that we can call for free. We actually, it's not for free. We pay $4,000 a year for that advice. And as you all know, I'm very disappointed that we get different opinions from the attorneys, and I understand they're all different people, but they're charging us a professional salary. One would think they would know what they were talking about. So I do have an issue with that.
Yeah,
Um,
I guess I could get with you on those later.
Okay.
The wheels thing is already, that's a separate piece of our ordinance, so I don't know that that's even relevant to the minimum square footage of 720, because those would be less than 720 anyways. I don't think our attorneys giving different opinions happens as much as it sounds like maybe you think it does. I
I've
think
heard it 3 times in the last 2 months.
it's more a matter of them giving a different opinion than what we are told as a board.
No, I listened to him, and you told me that he made a mistake. Formier,
What mistake?
when he was asked a question at the board meeting and he answered it incorrectly.
I don't know what you're referring to.
It was about them getting 3 minutes and them having to be certified mail back, the person that sent us certified mail. He said, no, they just have to be given 3 minutes at public hearing time. And then he retracted that and said, no, you need to send them a
Well,
certified letter.
his comments at the meeting, he said that it was not clear to him when we were discussing that we had received a certified letter at that point.
Oh, he didn't.
So that makes a difference. I mean, because it says in the MCL, if we receive official notification or official request for a meeting,
I'm
so.
very grateful that our meetings are all recorded because we have had to go back and listen to
Yeah.
them. So that is helpful. Thank you, Kara. And I'm very happy to be here. Merry Christmas.
Oh, my turn?
Yeah, go ahead.
I apologize. A couple of things I wanna comment on is, I had a really good informative, meeting with the sheriff and undersheriff regarding, some possibilities of hour changes and, dispatch amounts for our deputy, regarding our budget that we're getting into. And different calls for the deputy. And he said he could do that right then, and I said, nope. We have to run this by the board and get some more input. But he's very, very, accommodating to work with the townships and whatever we'd like to do. Of course, within reason and whatever the office is gonna dictate some of that to us, obviously. But he's really willing to work with us on it. So that was one thing. The other thing is that we have Kara here now, and we have Jason that don't have their name plaques, and I have that in the works. I want to keep the money local, so I got a hold of Rod's Promotions and Prints over by Bangor, between Bangor and South Haven. I met with him yesterday. And took my nameplate over there, and he said, yeah, I can do this, when you want them, and I said, let me run it, tell the board first, if it's okay, they're only like about $6 or $8 a piece. And he can have them done. So, if you want me to pursue that, I said I would call him tomorrow and let him know.
I'll pay for both of them, so I don't have to have the green paper anymore.
It might be a Christmas present for you guys. So if that's all right, and nobody else has already, ordered them, that was my comment to him. I didn't know if anybody had ordered them or not, so if not, I'll call them tomorrow and tell them, go ahead and do them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's it for me. Everybody have a Merry Christmas. Be careful out there.
Well, I guess one final comment that, we talk about babies. The previous zoning ordinance also refers to, single-family housing on vacant lots and, in that area. And they even go on to talk about where the, residential land use is gonna see its biggest growth and things like that. But that's recently, that's like 2010, and then we did one in 2020. Yeah, which also says that we would be single family on vacant lots in the residential area. Again, I'm not complaining about the ag part. But with that, if everyone's in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Hi.
Mary?
Yes, please.
9:30.
Gary, aye.
Sure.
Aye, Gary. At, what time is it?
39.
You got it, 9:39.
I look forward to a new master plan.